So we have dealt with paragraph blocks, and now we are going to look at a couple of other different kinds of blocks. The blocks that we're focusing on right now are text blocks, things that format text on your web page. So the paragraph block is the basic building block for text, but there are a couple of other types of blocks that deal specifically with text. So to see what they are, we can actually click on this plus sign here, click on plus sign, and if you scroll, you'll see that, let me just close this little window that's in the way, click on this plus sign here, and you can see that these are all of the blocks that deal with text. You can see that they're organized into text blocks, media blocks, various other kinds of blocks. So these are all the ones to deal with text blocks. So the one I want to focus on now is the heading block. So a heading block. Heading block is used to divide up your page into sections of text. So if you want section titles, those are your headings. Your default page title, this is a heading 1 block. Every page title is by default a heading 1 block. So everything you create in the page should be heading 2 or lower. So I'm going to convert this one here, this first paragraph, I'm going to convert that into a heading block. How do I do that? Because it's a paragraph block. Well, if you click on the small paragraph icon to do with the floating toolbar, you can see that it allows you to change the type. You can transform a block from one type to another as long as it's kind of in the same universe of block types. So all text blocks can pretty much be transformed into a different kind of text block. So I'm going to choose heading. Okay, and you can see that the heading, this is now a heading block. You can see the icon has changed here to this heading symbol. This is the symbol for the heading block. And you can see that it's automatically chosen heading level 2. Remember that heading level 1 is the title of the page. Everything in the body of the page should be heading level 2 or below. So this is the heading level 2. You can see that makes the font nice and big. Okay, and bigger than the body text of the page. Generally speaking, your header text should be bigger than the body text of the page. So what are some of the things I can do to a heading block? Well, it's very similar to what I can do to an individual paragraph. I can change the color of the text, the color of the background. I can change some elements of the typography, some of the same typography, line spacing, line height, things that I can change with, same things that I can change with a paragraph, I can also change in a heading. I'm not going to mess around with that because they are pretty much the same as the ones you can do with paragraph block. Why use headings? Headings are used to break up text. Okay, so you want to break up text. If you have long text and what you then face is something called a wall of text. Your user hits this wall of long text and there's no break for the eye. So using headings can break up your text into manageable chunks where they have sort of kind of like a table of contents where they can see, this paragraph is about this paragraph is about this paragraph is about this. So use heading blocks to break up the text, make some text larger, and use it when you actually also have structure on a page. So for example, recipes. There are 2 main sections of a recipe. There's the ingredients section, that would be a heading block. Then there's the instructions section, that would be a heading block. So you would break your page into heading section ingredients and list your ingredients underneath, and then heading section instructions below that. So you could use heading blocks to break up your page. One of the things you should be aware of, though, is that not all of the content can be found over here in the block controls. Some of the block controls can be found only in the floating toolbar that's associated with the heading block. So I'm going to click on my heading block so I can see my floating toolbar. There are a couple of things that are not over here in the block controls, and they include a couple of different things. First of all, there's the text alignment. I can align it left, center, or right. And I can change the heading level from heading 2 to heading 3, heading 4, heading 5. Remember, we don't skip levels. If your page heading is heading level 1, the next heading in your document should be heading level 2. And you should only be using heading level 3, 4, and 5 for things that are subsections of individual sections of your website. And then you can also change the width. Where is it on the page? So wide or none, it's aligned with the body of your content. Wide width moves it over slightly, and full width moves it right to the edge of the page. So these are some of the only controls that can only be found in this floating toolbar. So I want to make sure I set it to none. so that it's lined up with the center of the page. Let's update this and let's preview what we've got. I'm going to click the preview and preview in a new tab. So you can see there's your heading 2. And you can see how it nicely breaks up the text so you're not faced with a wall of text. I'm going to close the preview and we'll move on to the next block.